Howdy folks, it's Tuesday, December 17, 2019, probably about 9 o'clock in the morning. So I had written on Monday that I had taken some of the 50-year-old lumber and planed it down, cleaned it up, and it was gonna make some legs for the countertop. Well, this is an example of the 50-year-old lumber. And so what I did is I ran it through the planer once, and then I still wasn't happy enough with it. So I took each individual board and ran it through face down on the jointer. And these boards, these 50-year-old boards, aren't 1.5 inches thick or wide, they're thick, they're 1 5/8. So I had plenty of opportunity to trim those down. And then what I did is I cut them to length about 34.5, an inside and an outside. And then I have this shorter board sandwiched in between. And the purpose, and you see I have 2 of these. And the same thing on this one. Here I used new lumber. And the idea is, let's see if this works. Let's say that this one, this post is buried in the cabinet work. So then I have this 2x4 that goes in that, and I'll screw it from both sides. And then, for instance, let's assume that this is the table or the counter leg. This will be out, let's say this far. And so with this on the floor and this slot facing this board, if this was our stretcher board, would fit right in there, and we'd screw it in. Then what I would do is in this spanse that's opened and is only 2x4, I'd put 2x4 on each side to sort of lock it in to prevent it from wiggling around. But this one you wouldn't see in the cabinet. This one, for instance, in my example, you would, because this will be a leg. And what I'm gonna do on the leg, everything will get primed and painted because that's the way we're doing our cabinetry. But what I do on the leg is, let's say that I want some kind of a taper up 12 inches. Okay, let's just pretend that that's 12. What I do is I mark the 6-inch mark all the way around to this leg. And I then put it flat on my jointer, and I run it up so that that line on that leg matches up with this line. This is a line I drew, and it's essentially the center of that spinning blade. I run it up to that, do that on all 4 sides. So now the bottom is a little bit narrower than the rest, and then I come through, and because that's narrow, it's thinner, I then tip it down and run it through again. And because I made my mark at 6 inches over there, I'm now gonna get a taper that will cover 12. So that's the next thing I'm going to do on the board that I will use as the leg. So, and I'll probably, one thing I wanna look at is knots. Because the one that's buried isn't going to have anything exposed on it. This one's got quite a few knots. Remember, this is 50-year-old lumber. These 2 boards are. So it's not perfect. I can do some putty filler and the like. But these 2 boards are exactly 4 1/4. I like this side. This doesn't look bad. I can putty that. I can putty that. I think I just found our table leg right there. So the next thing I'm going to do is cut these to size so that they're 34.5, and then I'll do that on the chop saw over there, right there, and then come back, mark my table leg, and then send it through the jointer. Thanks for following our progress.